Hi, my name is Zachary Strickler. Today we'll be talking about internal monologues, executive functioning, and metacognition. Just a little bit about me before we get on rolling. My background is in rehabilitation counseling, in which I have a master's in. Spent the last 5 years helping neurodivergent individuals explore executive functioning and careers. And I currently own Strickler Career Consultants, where I still do those tasks. Now, let's get rolling. What is executive functioning? Executive functioning is how we make, maintain, and organize plans. It is a skill to be developed, but some people are naturally better or worse at it. Executive functioning is greatly dependent on your internal monologues and your metacognition. For inherently, your internal monologues shall lay down what you believe can be done or could not be done, and your metacognition can help explain why you believe something can or cannot be done. Inherently, when engaging with executive functioning, getting organized, making your plans, setting goals, sub-goals, and the like, one has to engage with their metacognition to do it effectively. So what is metacognition? Metacognition is how we think about our thoughts. So if you've ever had a random shower thought, such as, what happens if I throw barbecue sauce on a hot dog and add a little bit of pulled pork? And then you go, well, why did I think pulled pork would be good on a hot dog? What makes a hot dog good? What makes barbecue good? You've just gone into metacognition, thinking about how you thought about something. Now then, what are internal monologues? I believe that there are 3 types of internal monologues: unresolved positive, unresolved negative, and resolved. What makes it resolved or not is, do you understand most of the major components enough to accurately predict the next step and why the next step should or should not work? What makes it unresolved then is only knowing a few elements and not being able to accurately predict with good reason what will be next or why it will be next. The latter of why it will be next becomes quite important when differentiating between unresolved positive and negative. Unresolved negative would be when one has a behavior that leads to a negative thing that they do not wish. Great example of this would be the person who keeps saying sorry to somebody that has already forgiven them. And that is because it's no longer about, actually gaining forgiveness from the individual. It is for self-soothing. Now, why is it about that? There could be many different reasons. But not knowing those reasons, and then not knowing why the behavior is done, but only engaging with the behavior because it leads to the result of, I feel better after I have apologized 9 million times, would be unresolved negative. Mostly because you are punishing yourself all those times before you get to the self-soothed part. Now, an unresolved positive is getting ready to go to work and then making it to work and doing all your tasks for the day and going for lunch. You don't have to think about why you've decided to make these decisions or what all your grand plans are, or how they impact your emotions to lead to a positive outcome. But because you don't know exactly why or exactly how, it's unresolved. Now, do all notions need to be resolved? No. Inherently, if something's working, you have no need to go explore it. With that said, exploring it allows for a greater manipulation of concepts and allows you to then move things into the resolved or resolving category, which allows you to make new and better plans. It's that whole growing and learning thing. Yeah, it's better if you understand why. Now, a good example of how this all comes into executive functioning is that our internal monologues, when they're unresolved, go to things such as, I'm bad at school, thus I'm going to be unorganized. If I'm unorganized, I'm going to be anxious. If I'm going to be anxious, I'm not going to engage, thus, no. But that all gets covered with the nice sheen of, I'm bad at school. Why? I'm just bad at school. That is an example of an unresolved monologue that I often run into. Now, one can reverse some monologues to get to a resolved monologue. If I was to organize my work, I could expect what was to occur, and if I can expect what is to occur, I'm going to be less anxious, and if I'm going to be less anxious, I can do better at school, and thus I am better. So, I'm good at school. These monologues play into our executive functioning, and this executive functioning falls under metacognition. So, once you begin to think about how you think, you can start to interpret your internal monologues, and once you have a good understanding of your internal monologues, you can begin to lay out good plans because you have a good expectation of what will occur and why it will occur. I'll have future videos explaining in depth like all the different domains of internal monologues. There's a total of 6. At least at this moment, I may have more or less as I conceptualize. That is to say that, like anything else, this is a working theory, and changes will occur or be redefined. Thus, the nature of psychology. So, to wrap it all up, your internal monologues impact your executive functioning, and your executive functioning and internal monologues are part of your metacognition. Thanks for listening.